Hello guys, welcome back to Global Happenings today. Still talking about Fubara-Wike crisis. There had been a lot of reactions, especially from the people of Rivers State. But right now, I'm going to allow you to watch a video where one of the political chieftain, took out time to talk about who Wike is and why the president must be very careful with his dealing with him. And all of this, he is taking it from the past relationships that Wike had fell in. Don't forget that he had dealt with so many political leaders, but at the end of the day, there is a 4 hour, so his loyalty can somehow be predicted. So this chieftain took out time to advise Bola Tinubu on that, and also he took out time to warn Tinubu of the need for him to be very careful with the current trend of events in Rivers State, considering the fact that Rivers State is a huge hub of economic activity. Somehow, virtually all the money is Nigeria. 80% of it may be coming from Rivers State. So if the Niger Delta guys get angry again because of this issue, it may result to a serious downtime when it comes to economic activities and also economic growth of the country. So he warns him about his way of dealing with the people of Rivers State. Let me not let the cat out of the bag. Get to hear exactly his viewpoint as it advises Wike, advises Bola Tinubu, and also for Bara as it has to do with his relationship with his so-called mentor. Let's listen.
Wiki is like a bull in a china shop. It's like a bull in a china shop. You're probably not going to like what I'm going to say about Inyesom Wiki. Inyesom Wiki is an egomaniac. If you look at his personality, he's very driven by ego, not by conscience. And people like that, you got to be careful. You cannot just descend to their level and then begin to fight them like that. No, you've got to use wisdom. You've got to use strategy. You've got to use tactics. So what is happening is that the man has not said that he has left the party or is going to, he's leaving the party. The PDP has to wait for him to make a stand, to take a stand. If he leaves, then okay, good riddance. If he decides to stay in the party and doesn't leave the party, then they have to find a way to endure him, because what cannot be avoided must be endured. If you go on a frontal attack with him, he has a lot of residual power in River State to, will I say, just bring about some crisis. People like Wiki are not very good builders, but they are very good destroyers. You got to understand that. I'm going to say that one more time. People like Wiki are not very good builders. They're very good destroyers. So when you know that that's the case, then you got to be careful. What can the man do? He's no longer governor. Wike does not have a history of being loyal to people who are no longer in the position to help him politically. If you look at Wike, he was with Amechi, and then when he got what he wanted from Amechi, he ditched Amechi. And then he became in bed with Dame Pesha Jonathan. When he got what he wanted, despite their public protestations that it's not true, he actually ditched that relationship. So by the time Wike has gotten what he wants from, let's say, President Bola Tinubu, he's going to do the same thing, because the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Wike is somebody that you manage until you put him very carefully and tactfully in a position whereby he can do the least damage.
If I may quickly comment, you are saying that Wike is not a good builder, he's a destroyer, as you have said. But some people would say, look, he was very instrumental to building the PDP into what it is today, whether it's through energy and resources. And so that he probably feel aggrieved not to have gotten that support like he has said over time. Shouldn't that also be what the PDP should have addressed to, looking at his contributions over time to the party, to ensure that, look, it is not just about sanctioning him, it's also about settling the issues?
Well, here's the thing. If you follow me on social media and if you follow my column, I have said before that the PDP made a mistake in not giving its running mate ticket, the deputy ticket, to Inyesom Wike. I said that. We should have made him the running mate to Waziri Atiku Abubakar. I said that. But you see, that is a ship that has sailed. So we cannot be going forward by looking backward. Look, it's happened. We made that mistake. We didn't give him a ticket. But you are misquoting me. I didn't say that Wike is not a builder. I said Wike is a better destroyer than he is a builder. He can build. He was able to build the G5 into a formidable bloc within the People's Democratic Party. But what I'm saying is that the man is a better destroyer than he is a builder. Right now, he is in a position whereby he cannot do much building, but he can do much destruction. So that ship has sailed. The People's Democratic Party, I mean, this is a man who wanted to be president. Failing that, he wanted to be vice president. Right now, the People's Democratic Party are not in a position to offer him the presidency or the vice presidency, except maybe in 2027, maybe they can offer him that ticket. But for right now, they have outlived their usefulness to him from his own point of view. I think he's seen that maybe there's some kind of redemption that he can get with the APC and with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But if you look at the man's history, and you can only judge people's future by their history, this is a man who is not able to sustain loyalty to people when he feels that they are not in position to help him politically. Rivers State is one of the most ethnically diverse states in Nigeria. A lot of people are surprised to learn that there are over 45 ethnic groups in Rivers State. You hear of Andoni and you hear of Ndoni and you think they're the same. No, they're different. So there is there's the uniting force in River State is not like maybe in any of the 6 southwestern states. So where you have, there are various subgroups of Yoruba, but they all subsume themselves under that Yoruba identity. In River State, it's not like that. So, I mean, when you have that, you're going to be having people who are just going to be coming with their various agenda. I was a presidential spokesman. Everything that is done in the presidential villa is recorded. It's actually recorded, audio and camera. The governor could not have been placed under duress because it was being recorded. At the end of the day, if the presidency will want to put to shame those people making this allegation, they just release the video. These people were brought together at the presidential villa. The president came in, the president brought in the both parties and said, okay, look, how can we have a resolution? From what I understand, they tabled out some certain, agendas that might resolve the situation on the ground, and both parties signed. There was no duress. Like I told you, this is again like deja vu. What happened in 1967 after Lieutenant Colonel Gowon and Lieutenant Colonel Ojukwu went to Aburi, and the Ghanaian leader helped them to sign an agreement which they called the Aburi Accord. When they got back home, people who felt threatened by that agreement began to work on the minds of Gowon and Ojukwu, and eventually that agreement collapsed. So what happened is that they signed a free will agreement at the presidential villa. They went back to their various parties, they went back to their various states, their various situations, and then people there on the ground have looked at it and said, no, maybe this does not really favor me. Not the governor, not the state, but me. And then they began whispering in the ears of the governor, and that's how the agreement, this scenario that the governor was placed under duress to sign the agreement, it's not true. And the governor himself has said it's not true. Through his own commissioner, he has said it's not true. And the reason why the governor will say it's not true is because he knows that the whole thing would have been video recorded.
Mm. And I just want to ask, because I've listened to lawyers on this matter over and over again, and some have said, look, this agreement does not have the force of the law. Do you see your parties abiding by this resolution? And what happens if Governor Fubara comes under pressure and decide not to follow through with this resolution?
Rivers State is a state whereby the violence take it by force. I mean, if you excuse me using that scriptural language. So you have people in Rivers State who, some of them have standing armies. In a nationality, they have a standing army. Some of them have that. So when these kinds of people begin to whisper to the governor or to talk to the governor in private, I mean, anything can happen. What I would recommend to the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that, look, they should get back to the governor and say, okay, you signed this agreement, a free will agreement. Are you now not happy with it? If you're not happy with it, can you tell us behind the scenes, the press is not here, what parts of this agreement you're not happy with, so that maybe we can talk to the other dramatic person, in this case, Impending Wike, and see if he can bend over backward to accommodate you. Because if you allow River State to degenerate and this crisis to escalate, it can really affect Nigeria's oil production output. It will spread. There's going to be a contagious effect to states like Bayelsa and Delta, possibly not Akwa Ibom, because Akwa Ibom doesn't have a restive nature. And by the time you have that, you go, look, don't forget that Nigeria was instrumental to the global economic recession of 2007-2008 because of the crisis in the Niger Delta. We cannot afford a repeat of that, especially right now when our economy, is just beginning to come out of the doldrums that it was put by the Buhari administration. Okay, Nyesom Wike is a person who is, I think he's about 56 years old. I don't think that you can teach him new tricks. He's a person that is driven by ego. If you see in Nyesom Wike having an interview with journalists, he doesn't even allow journalists to talk. He wants to dominate them. That is his personality, it's his nature. So if you have such a person, like I said before, you have to, he's a bull in a china shop, you have to manage him until he's in a position whereby he can cause the least damage. And that's what the governor should have done. The governor, the governor is not unfamiliar with Nyesom Wike's personality. He worked with him for let's say, a number of years. So he knew the kind of person he was getting involved with. He should have, in my own case, tried to, adopt a more reconciliatory approach to this. Look, if you want to turn the ship, you have two options available to you. You can turn the ship abruptly, in which case you could break the rudder, or you can turn the ship gently, until you have it going in the direction that you want it to go. Olusegun Obasanjo, another person from the Southwest, he was brought in packaged by General Babangida and Abdulsalami Abubakar. And this was a man that was very gentle in taking power from the bloc that gave him power. And by 2007, he was the most influential Black African politician in the whole world. So they have to learn from where this model has worked best, which is the Southwest. And failure to do that, there's always going to be crisis in River State. Like I said, you have never had a situation in River State whereby a succeeding governor is having good relations with a preceding governor. They have to learn from the Southwest. Otherwise, that state will perpetually be in crisis.